Guys, welcome to I Hate Selling Live. Ryan McKenzie here with Vince Gabriele. We're going to jump right in with Vince in just a second. Guys, if you are here live with us in my Facebook group, welcome, and I'm happy that you're here with us. If you're listening to this later on the podcast, on YouTube, anywhere else, you missed out on the live recording. What are you doing? Why aren't you in the group? You should be here with us. Vince and I are here. You should be here. Anyway, if you want to know where the group is, it's Facebook and I Hate Selling. Just look up I Hate Selling on the Facebook groups and you'll find it. It's easy. Vince, there's a lot of people that want to hear from you guys. If you don't know Vince Gabriele, he's basically, in my book, I think you're the top podcast host right now in the fitness industry. I think maybe the other top one just kind of switched hosts. So I think you just skyrocketed past, right? That's my estimation. So we've got him to ourselves today. He helps people grow their gyms and market their gyms in really big ways. So we get to pick your brain, and I'm excited about that, Vince. Thanks for being here with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Hand. Yes. Woo! Oh, he's the best. Big crowd over here. Big crowd. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. All is good in the world of a gym owner slash fitness business consultant in the middle of a pandemic.
Right.
So,
right.
All is good.
All is good.
All is peaceful.
Everything's easy. Everything's simple. Everything's peaceful. We're going to dive into exactly how that can be real for you guys and how we can make it maybe a little more simple, maybe a little more peaceful. I think my man Vince here has got some really great thoughts with you guys. I see a lot of you guys jumping on here live in the Facebook group with us. If you've got specific questions for Vince, you want to put them on the spot. If we have time at the end, we'll get some questions to him. So throw up your questions on marketing your gym, on growing your gym. He's even got a cool giveaway that we're going to give you guys before we get done here. So stick around. You'll get your questions answered and you'll get a really cool prize, really cool gift. Before we get to that, Vince, I need to know two things from you. Well, first, actually, where are you right now in the world? We need to know, where are you?
Berkeley Heights, New Jersey.
New Jersey. What's the weather like there, sir?
It's a beautiful day. It's 70 and sunny. It's just like San Diego.
It's 70 and sunny. I feel like in my mind, New Jersey is always cloudy. Is that not the case?
Well, it's there's just like business, good days and great days in New Jersey.
I'm just outside Orlando, Florida. It's just butt sweat hot.
Yeah,
today.
I'm sure it's hot.
And
yeah.
I'm really glad I'm inside right now.
Yeah.
Wintertime, it's great. I get to brag on you. I get to make people feel bad. I'm like, guys, it's like 75 degrees outside right now. Yep. It's gorgeous and windy and sunny. It's awesome. Summertime, I'm like, guys, take me somewhere. Help me out. I wish I was in New Jersey. All right, so two questions for you. One, just get right into the meat of this, man. What is something weird about you? What is something odd about Vince Gabriele that most people don't know?
So this will be like a twofold, but the first is, so I used to weigh 296 pounds. I'm now 215, but I played offensive line at Temple University. And when people see I posted a picture of myself on Facebook probably a couple months ago, and people were literally saying, that's photoshopped, that's not you. And it was like a whole thing on social media. And I'm not active on social media. For someone in my world, I'm a very active podcaster and very active on email, but I'm not active on Facebook or Instagram so much. But anyway, so I posted this on a whim, and it was pretty cool. So no one could believe that. But what led that, as at 296 pounds, led me into competitive eating. Not so much competitive that I shared the stage with Kobayashi, but my name is on the plaque at a couple different restaurants in San Diego. So I'm a very amateur competitive eater.
I think we've got time for this, guys. What is the largest amount of food or weirdest thing you've eaten, competitively?
So it's funny because do you remember the show Man vs. Food?
Yes.
There was a show called Man vs. Food where this guy would go around and he would eat all these different dishes. And he actually went to one of the restaurants that I ate at. And the best thing I've ever done was at something called the Broken Yolk Cafe, which was, it came on a pizza tray. So imagine a pizza tray.
Okay.
Large pizza, and imagine half of the pizza tray being taken up by an omelet, other half taken up by home fries and two massive biscuits. Well, it took me 53 minutes to eat it. and I did it, and I literally was puking right immediately after, and I was not right for a week. The dude on Man vs. Food banged this out in 19 minutes. And that's when I realized that I was like, I was definitely an amateur, not even close to this guy's
This is
level.
not real life,
But
man.
it was an interesting thing. So
That's amazing. I'm afraid to ask you the next question about. I usually ask people about their favorite cereal, but I had a competitive eating day myself.
did you?
Back in college, we used to go to this place. I went to junior college, played baseball in junior college at Blue Ridge Community College. Woo! I don't even remember our mascot. I was there for 2 years. Went on to Rollins College after that. But this is in Hendersonville, North Carolina. There's a little tiny pizza joint called Pro's Pizza, and every Tuesday night they had all-you-can-eat spaghetti, right? So the whole baseball team would come in, and we would it was like $4.99 all you can eat spaghetti. And we basically put them out of business every Tuesday night, and like just had like 6 bowls of spaghetti. And I remember driving home, you get that feeling like something's not right.
Yeah.
I got to pull over and just like the worst thing ever. Like super healthy. You gotta get your carbs, you know? Anyway, on from that grossness. What is your favorite, second question, it's really more personality test. People don't realize it than anything else. What is your favorite unhealthy cereal?
Golden Grams.
That's the first time I've heard Golden Grams. All right, so remind me here. Are Golden Grams they're little bears? Or are they like?
No, they're like little
squares?
they're little squares, little graham crackers. Yeah, I love Golden Grams.
Golden Grams. And that was quick. You had that like on the top of your head. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, so
did you have some this morning?
It's funny. No, I didn't. But you know, my kids are. We got 8 years or 7 years before we gave our kids any cereal. And then we just kind of caved and we're like, all right, let's give them some Cheerios. And like, so, we have Honey Nut Cheerios in the house now, but no Golden Grams. No Golden Grams.
We'll go every once in a while. We'll get some unhealthy cereal for them, just like a treat. It's pretty fun. That's good stuff, guys. Let's get into the stuff you're here for. I think we've given enough people enough time to catch up, or if you're on the podcast, to fast forward through the weirdness and get into the meat of what we're doing. Vince, tell us a little about yourself, man. How did you get into this? Why should we listen to you? If people don't know who you are, obviously they should listen to you. But
I don't know how far you want me to go back, but you know, probably. So I finished my football career at Temple in 2001, and then moved right from Philadelphia to San Diego, two opposite ends of the spectrum, if you will, in terms of living experience.
And a lot of things,
Yeah. And so I was, you know, I'm a black sheep in my family. I come from a long line of, well, not long line. My dad was in a bond broker on Wall Street back in the 80s, in the heyday of all that. And my sisters followed suit. My brother-in-law's in the business, and I'm kind of like the black sheep. And I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not putting, a suit and tie on and going into the New York City every day. And I'm like, no way. So smart me gets a certification as a personal trainer, and I drive to California and I got my first certification from ISSA, and I become a personal trainer, and I got my first internship at a place called Fitness Quest 10, and a guy named Todd Durkin. I don't know if you know Todd, but he's a pretty famous, well-known guy.
Yeah, who's that?
In the fitness. Oh, you have heard of him? Okay, good.
Yeah.
He's Drew Brees' personal trainer, LT, and actually got to work. It's funny, I got to work with both of them while I was there, which is pretty cool. Really good people. And I did that for about 5 years, and I actually met my wife we were working together, and we met there. And, you know, my whole dream was to open my own gym. As soon as I became a trainer, I'm like, okay, you know, I want to open up my own gym at some point. So we got married, and a month later drove back to New Jersey and started my business the day I got home. And we opened up Gabriele Fitness that we moved in 2007, and then we opened GFP in 2008, our first location.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. So take us from there to where you are now. Like, you went from forget the big money, I'm just going to be a personal trainer, to opening a gym and working with some high level people. How do you get from there to like becoming the marketing podcasting expert that you are now, where you're helping people grow their gyms?
Yeah, well, I did it very differently. I actually built a gym first, and then started.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Wait, so you can actually do the real work first, and then help somebody do it based off your experience? I thought the only way
if you want to be really,
to
only if you want to be really
like
tired.
You do everything.
So yeah, I mean, so I was a gym owner. Like I had no aspirations of being a coach. I had no consultant. No, I mean, when I started, I knew nothing about marketing, and I was a trainer that really became a gym owner out of necessity because I realized I wanted to make money, right? And so I was
I
like, all right, I got to own a gym.
I love this so much.
Yeah.
This is spot on. This is good.
Yeah, so there's no like big grandiose plan. It was like, okay, I'm not gonna starve, so I'm gonna be able to provide a life for my family. And I think through that, so the first book I ever read in business was The E-Myth, and that I kind of had
Read
a
that book.
love affair with building a business that ran without you. And the day that I read that book was the day it's like, okay, I'm gonna build something that's got a staff, I'm not going to make
Mhm.
myself the focal point. And that book probably was like the first quest into really loving entrepreneurship. Like as much as I love marketing, like I love small business. Like I got a call. I spent one day, there was a little party place in my kid's town, and it's like one of these little, like, just like a little shop, and they go there and they have parties and they do Play-Doh and like this stuff. And you could tell she was like this woman that was stressed out, that was trying to keep her business alive. And
She's the owner and the front desk and the balloon
well,
blower upper
she's
and
what
the party.
Gerber talks
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
as you're the owner, you're the technician, you do
Yeah.
everything. And so I remember I spent hours with her at the party, and she was like ignoring the party, and we were just talking about business, and I was teaching her all these cool things. And she just called my wife, and she's like, "Oh, like I COVID hit, and I just couldn't handle it," and she threw in the towel, and it just made me so sad. I'm so passionate about small business and small business owners, and that's really what I love. And so I do it right now for gym owners, because that's just what I've been used to. But um, most of what I teach can be applied to really any business, if you
Right.
will.
All right, guys. If you're here with us live on Facebook, or if you're on the podcast or YouTube, wherever you are, like right now, if you own a small business or you work in a small business, give us a like or just type it in there, say small business, and let us know, because this is who Vince is passionate about. This is who I'm passionate about. I grew up in a big box gym and learned a ton, high end big box gym, but I love the idea of the small business guy or girl getting a leg up and getting moving forward and like really knowing what they're doing, and not just like you're saying being the owner, the technician, like every part of the business. Like, how do we make this a real business? That's something we're real passionate about. So if that's you, throw it up in the chat right now, or just share this with everybody who knows a small business owner, because this is the guy they need to talk to,
Mm.
and I'm pretty excited about it. Vince, what let's dive into like just a little bit of what you're doing now, because I know
Yeah.
you're helping mainly gyms, but it does apply to almost anybody. Tell us a little about that.
Yep. So I ran the gym I mean, I still run the gym. The gym still runs today. I just have a minimal role in that business. It's still a pretty big business.
Yeah.
But probably about 3 years ago, yeah, 3 years ago, my dad had a stroke, and he basically, it was so bad that I had to take like a whole month off.
Wow.
And it's kind of like that, there's always like kind of that one door closes, another opens, and he's still alive, but he's not like, he's never recovered. Like he can't
Yeah.
talk, he can't walk, and it's a terrible situation. But I took, it was actually August. So it was the month of August. And I literally was just driving into New York City every day to be there for my mom, and my sisters. And I told the gym, I'm like, man, I'm out, guys. I'm out. You guys got this. And we actually had our best August in history, and we finished the quarter
so,
and we were killing it. And
so
I'm
you
like,
have a crisis in your family. The
yeah,
the founder owner of the gym steps away, and they do the best they've ever done.
yeah, and
Does
it's
that
funny
make you want to
because
quit? You just want to be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Or is that exciting to you? Which way how'd you feel about that? I'm sure.
no, it was good. While I was in that the hospital, so you couldn't stay in the room very long with him.
Right.
So I would go to the waiting room a lot, and I wrote my first book in the waiting room while my dad was in the hospital.
Man.
And it was all about, like, it was about the team. It was called the 364 manual. It's 364 hiring manual, and it was basically about, all right, there's no way you can get a business run without good staff and a good team. So it was all about how I found these people and then how I trained them and how I got them to be able to do the job. So that's kind of like, I wrote my first book in the hospital. And then
Wow.
I'm like, man, I was like, I really, now I was doing some dabbling in consulting, but I was
Yeah.
connected with other people and stuff like that. It wasn't on my own. And I didn't like have like the wherewithal to make it a real thing like it is now.
Right.
And so that was like the turning point for me. That was like, all right, this is what I was built to do. I did it. Uh, I learned a lot in 10 years, but now I'm like built to teach it. And
I
so
love it.
that was kind of the quest to start the full business.
And I love
After
that you
that.
took something that would have just crippled a lot of people, and most people just shut the gym down. Most people would just say, "I need to take some time off for myself." Most people, and you just like sound like you poured out your heart onto a page while you're just waiting for something good to happen, and something good came out of it. That's really exciting to me that you took something bad and made it something positive in the end. It's amazing, man.
Yeah. Yep. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And it was tough. It was a hard, and again, wasn't without a lot of pain and,
Yeah.
a lot of like crappy stuff that was going on at the same time. But, it was, just kind of a calling, I guess, if you will.
And I know firsthand what that's like. This is before I wrote my book, but my dad, same thing in the hospital, stroke. Um, Actually went in the day before my daughter was born,
Wow.
and then didn't ever come back out again. So he passed
Wow.
away
Sorry.
uh, 20 days after my first daughter was born. So it's
Mm.
just really challenging time. I know how hard that is
Yeah.
firsthand. So, man, kudos to you for pushing forward for your team, for your family, for your dad. Like that is really powerful stuff, man.
Well,
That's
yeah,
really cool.
it's funny because the team, I mean, they deserve all the credit. I mean, they're the ones that,
Yeah.
did all the work. And my dad, it's funny because, so my dad gave me the money. I had no money when I was working. Most money I ever made was $37,000 a year working as a trainer.
Right.
So I had no money. I wasn't saving money. And I was like, all right, Dad, can I borrow some money and to open up this gym? He's like, you really should come work for me. And I was like, yeah, but I want to do this. And, so he loaned me the money and I paid him back in like a year or two or something. And he's like, man, this is the best investment I ever made. And it was cool because we had a fundraiser for stroke.org about a year later. And he actually was the first time he came out in public to come
Wow.
to it. And I told my clients, because they didn't really know the story, I told my clients, it's like, this is, that he was the one that made this all possible. And you got like 300 people standing there that are like, this is, this place, this gym, changed my life and, everything like that. So it was a really cool story, but
Wow.
that is the story of what kind of catapulted me into the consulting coaching, and I've really, I don't call myself a marketing expert. I guess people can tend to call me that. I guess if you write a book, you're an expert. There's some truth to that.
Sure. Sure.
But
You wrote the book on it, man.
yeah, yeah, and so, but I think that the big thing is that that is the story. But I'm a lifelong learner. I'm self-taught. I don't have all these like high level degrees or anything like that. So I mean, most of what I know, I've kind of learned bootstrapping and teaching
Yeah.
myself.
That's
So
cool.
yeah.
Hey, so I love this. I love where you're coming from, man. I can relate to it a lot. It's really cool. What what would you say right now as gym owners and personal trainers, as they're looking to either, I'm already out of quarantine, like I'm down in Florida, gyms are 100%, let's go.
Yeah.
And there's places that, I don't know if New Jersey, but Massachusetts is still kind of like closed off quite a bit.
Yeah.
All over the world, there's different scenarios taking place as we're coming out of this thing, hopefully for good, hopefully. What can we do right now? Because I believe if we can get people moving the right way, we can get them in shape, get them moving. That's no matter what disease or virus comes, that's going to be your best preventative measure, right? Obviously, you want whatever else on top of that too. There's other stuff you can do, but how do we get our gyms back up and running again during this time? I just did a live video the other night with my group, just saying like, a lot of people worried about selling right now and growing right now.
Yeah.
One, with coming out of Corona and like quarantine, and you don't want to hurt anybody. Two, with the nature of just tensions in the United States right now, like there's protests and stuff going on. Like, I feel like it's insensitive if I sell my gym and I grow my gym. It doesn't matter that much right now. What would you say? Like, what can I do to push forward and actually grow? Because I believe right now is the best time to actually dig in and help somebody. If you want to influence their beliefs, if you want to influence their health, like now's the time we need to push forward and help people, being sensitive to what's going on. But talk to us about the marketing side of that. What does that look like for you?
Absolutely. So this thing started mid-March, and I very quickly put together, I have 50 members in my mastermind, all gym owners, and all around the country. And I put together, I came home, I was in Disney with the family. We left the family trip early just to get home and just take care of everything. And I put together, on the way home, I put together a 4-part strategy. I was like, this is what you guys need to do to get through and survive the pandemic. Okay, so the first thing is, and this will apply to what we're talking about, the first thing is preserve what you have, right? That's the most important thing that a gym could do that has their gym forced to close, is that you're not going to get a, regardless of what the experts say, you're not going to get 500 new online clients in 3 days, right? So the number one thing you need to do is you need to, one, preserve what you have. Number two, you need to explore and try to promote another option. In this case, during COVID, during the pandemic, it was creating some kind of an online option. Number three is spend time setting your business up for when you return, right?
That's good.
So what are you doing right now to set your business up for when you return? So one of the things that I can talk about is the key. I'm going to talk about cash flow forecast in a second, but a key to financial stability is operational excellence. And there are lots of gyms out there that have holes in their bucket, and from an operational perspective. So for example, the front desk person that's not trained to get contact information from the person that walks in, this is your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
That is money that's leaking out of the business, right? The lack of a follow-up system to confirm a consultation is a hole in the bucket. The lack of tracking attendance and not knowing what capacity you're at is a hole in the bucket. So that's why number three was set your business up for your return. They had a lot of time to be focusing on, hey, what's broken about my business right now that I have time to be fixing.
What a great opportunity, honestly, for you gyms that are still closed. Like, man, we're opening in 2 weeks. Shoot, get to it right now and start saying, okay, if I was starting this thing from scratch, what do I hate about my business? What do I wish I could change right now? What do I need to fix? I've always complained about, it's always been hurting me. Like, right now is the perfect reason and excuse to change it. Like, we're gonna redo some systems. That's amazing. That's perfect. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I told everyone, I was like, shame on you if you end this pandemic with a team member that you didn't want going in.
Right.
Because it was a perfect opportunity to get rid of them. Like, there's no better time to get rid of an employee than a pandemic that you don't want anyway. But I think that I struggled with this. I've struggled with this as someone that is, I am not sometimes I really want to be, but my wiring is not this hard charging entrepreneur. My wiring is very relationship focused, is very people focused. And sometimes I will be slower to make decisions. And, but there are times where, and a pandemic should speed it up. Like, if you're not decisive during a pandemic, you got to really start like buttoning up and be able to make some decisions when you don't know the consequences. Like that's an important thing. Like, we can't be always certain that we know everything that's going to happen. Again, this is something I struggle with. Like, sometimes I like to know before I make the decision. But during the pandemic, it kind of trained us to be able to, like, all right, I'm just going to make the call and move forward, because you don't have time to sit there and wallow and, oh, what should I do? What should I do? So the pandemic, I think, was a good teaching tool for business owners to be able to be more decisive and to be able to make, better and quicker decisions on the health of your business. The fourth thing was getting out in the community, right? That's like, how do you support your community right now in a time where your community is watching what you do? And you should be doing things. And one of our mastermind members came up with this brilliant idea of doing a virtual 5K. And again, I didn't come up with this, but it was brilliant. And it was a lead gen tool. It was a community builder. It was a client retention tool. And you basically we picked a day where we had a virtual 5K, and people would go run and they track their own course and they just go report their time. And it was amazing. And we had
super
so many of our people did it, and it kind of hit on every point of my strategy of keep what you got, get new, save business before you return, and then build that in the community. So it was a really cool thing. And again, I have to give credit to a guy named Joe Hashi who's got 3 gyms up out near Syracuse, New York, and is just probably one of the top gym owners I've ever met in the industry. It's great.
Joe, you're the man. You're the man. Man, that's cool stuff. I like that. So can we get really granular for a second and then maybe back it out? Like if I'm coming out of this and my gym's open back up, right? There's some people that are afraid to come back to work out, right? There's some people that have canceled their membership. A lot of gyms are feeling good if they're at 50% of what they had before. Honestly, that's what I've seen. They feel we got half of what we had. We're at least moving forward, which is a scary place to be, But what would you say? What's something practical I could do right now to market, to get people in the doors? Obviously, I feel like the first answer would be follow up with the people you had before, right? Like, let's get them going. But reaching out into the community, like you're talking about, what's something I can do right now when people might be afraid? We don't know where they're at. Like, some people, social distancing is a real big deal. Some people, it's like, I don't even care about this thing. Let me in. Like, let's go. So how do you manage that? And what's something practical we could do right now?
So I am a huge proponent of email, and I think it's the most underused asset that most gyms have. And you got to think that people on your email list are former clients. They're hopefully unconverted leads. They're friends of friends. They're people that have come to seminars and workshops. So you have this combination of people. And the way I look at your email list is it's this auditorium, right? And there are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, whatever, how many people you have on your email list. Picture they're all sitting in this auditorium. And every morning, every afternoon, every day, you have the ability to walk into that auditorium, get on stage, give them some value, and then drop a call to action.
You just freaked everybody out, man. Public speaking, come on.
Well, it's
That's
not
good.
public speaking, though.
That's
You're
good.
just writing, but that's the opportunity that you have. Now, 20%, only 20% will be tuned in. 80% of the audience will not listen to you. Right. So I guess the big picture is to kind of what you were saying is to leverage the assets that you already have.
I like that.
Right. So here's a couple buckets. All right. Bucket one is unconverted leads. Is if I was to buy someone's business, this is what I would do. The first thing I would do is I would go and say, all right, give me the list and names, emails, and phone numbers of all your unconverted leads. That's number one. Number two, I would say, give me the names, emails, and phone numbers and addresses of all of the unconverted trial members. All of the unconverted trial members, because we think they did a 30-day jump start, but they didn't convert. So now they're like, they ain't never coming back. Well, I will tell you that just Monday, or maybe we did last week, I don't remember. But so we have a new software, an automation software that we use, and it's called Nurture Ninja. And we set up on Nurture Ninja this automated voicemail. And the automated voicemail was I pre-recorded the voicemail. And I said, hey, this is Vince Gabriele from Gabriele Fitness. We're so happy you're getting through blah, 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 blah. And I said, we're inviting all the members that did a trial with us to come back for a free week. You're going to get a text message in about 10 minutes. Just respond to that text message and let us know if you want to come in. So the automation was set up. 10 minutes later, they got a text message. So we had 60 responses from 150 people. 150 person list. That's really good. So 60 responses from a text message is like, wow. And we have already closed three of the clients, and our lifetime value of a client is about $4,000 to $5,000. So if you do the math from one automation, we've already closed 2. We have several more that have set up consultations to come in, and that's a very small bucket. Right. It's a really small bucket. It's a bucket of just your unconverted trial members.
Yeah.
Right. That's bucket 2. And then bucket 3 is your lost clients, like who's a member that you had before. And yes. The good thing about these people is you have the holy grail of contact information. You can email them, you can call them, you can text them, you can go knock on their door.
You know about their family, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing your due diligence with them as a client, like if you knew about them, right? You actually have
and here's the biggest reason why this works is because right now there is a reason. There is a reason to contact them. And the reason to contact them is your gym is reopening because it was closed. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people with reactivation, they get all weird. They're like, I don't know what to say. It was just like, well, you want to come back? Well, no. I'm like, now it's like there's a very specific reason that you can then go to them to come in. And the fourth bucket is this. The fourth bucket is your current members. I got an email yesterday that almost made me cry, right? It was a guy that was like, he sung our praises up and down about the job we did during COVID when the gym was closed. And it was amazing. And most gym owners, when they get information like that, when they get it, they're like, oh, shucks, thanks a lot. Yeah. But that is the perfect opportunity to ask for a referral.
Boom.
And so if you think about it, and this is what I have my mastermind goes to, everyone that paid you for virtual garbage Zoom workouts, right? Everyone that paid you for that garbage, all right, they love you. And they paid you. I mean, we had many members paying us $500 for Zoom. So that means they feel really valued on what you did for them. And so I had everyone create a spreadsheet and say, okay, everyone that paid you during COVID, you're going to have an individual conversation with them and drive them to get a referral or testimonial.
Awesome. Yeah.
So those are 4 buckets, right? With no ad spend.
Great stuff.
With no ad spend, no, you have your leads, you have your unconverted trial members, you have former members, and then you have how you can leverage current members to drive referrals. That is like, I would exhaust the heck out of that before I would do much else.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, if I see one more random sign on the side of the road, yes, we're open, hoping that's going to get people into your restaurant or your gym or whatever the heck, man. Like what you're talking about is personal relationship and actually showing that you care to somebody. That is step 1 in the sales process right there is, do they know that I care? I love that, because a text message, an email, a phone call, whatever it is, you're reaching out to them. Like that is a big deal, rather than just, well, I guess we should buy a "we're open" sign and hang it out on the front yard. Like, come on. This is really specific. This is really relationship based. And if we're honest, I think that's where 90% of us got into the industry in the first place, is we love people. We care about people. We want to see people's lives change. So that's,
sure.
Like you said, you didn't go into Wall Street because you want to do something a little different. You want to work with people. You want to have relationships going, like not just buy, sell, fake money all over the place, right? But like, let's get in people's lives. That's cool. And like, if we do this the right way, we can make it a big business. We can make it something really profitable. And I think that's the thing we're scared to talk about, because I'm not supposed to care about money. I'm not supposed to care about growing my business. I'm supposed to care about people. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, guys. If you listen to Vince, what he's saying right here, dive into, just pick one of those 4 buckets today. Call one person, text one person out of that bucket right now. As soon as we get off this call, you're on your way to opening this thing back up in a big way.
Well, and tomorrow, there's also another bucket in there that I didn't even mention. I, I, I am sure that a lot of people had members put their membership on hold.
Yeah.
And I think that, and this is something I kind of have talked about a lot. I feel like a lot of people lost out on that relationship, and because they took it personally, that they put their membership on hold. Right? They're like, oh, can't support a small business, screw them. No, we took every one of our members on hold and we followed up with them once a week during COVID-19 because we wanted to keep them connected. Now, when we call them to come back, they most likely are, unless they're afraid, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're afraid. And the one thing is, I will say this, is that I don't know if a lot of your people that follow you do small group or large group, but we're a small group, large group facility, but we've started to do a lot of one-on-one. We've sold well over $10,000 in the last month just in one-on-one packages, one-on-one
Yeah.
training, because some people are more comfortable in doing that.
Yeah. It's funny how, was it 5 or 6 years ago? I remember saying the one-on-one training is dead.
Yeah,
CrossFit is life and big group is life and one-on-one is dead. And it seems like that is the way to start, at the very least, to get them back in the door and start people back, offering really specialized, really safe, really intimate one-on-one training sessions. You can get people going again.
yeah, because people are wigged out. They're wigged out about being around a lot of other people. But I had a guy tell me, really high-end, CEO, business guy. He's like, dude, I want to be around other people. I'll come in. I want to work one-on-one. I don't care what it costs. There are, if you have 100 people on your list, there are 10 to 20 of them that will pay triple what they're paying now.
Yeah.
That's kind of almost like an unwritten rule.
So tell me what you think about this. I hear a lot of people say, well, no, my clients won't pay that much. I don't want to charge too much. I don't want to lose people.
Yeah.
Right. So my response, and maybe you can help me shape this a little bit. I wonder if we need to rethink the way we're offering it and rethink the way we're talking about it, because they won't pay more for what you're offering right now. But what if you could offer them the best thing they've ever seen? What if you could offer them the best thing you could ever do, instead of worrying about how cheap can I make it? How much can I get away with for a cheap price? What if you could give them the best thing you could ever offer? Would they pay more for that? I bet they would, right?
And the advice I always give is you got to realize that it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think the mindset people go in with of like, well, if everyone won't want to do it, then no one will want to do it. And no, there's 80 people. If you have 100 people, there's 80 people that will be like, that's bullshit. That's too expensive. I'm not doing that. And then there's only 10, like I said, 10 to 20 that will be like, yeah, I can do that. I can afford that. And the example I always give is it's like, instead of jumping up and down in the ocean, you jump up and down in the puddle. Right. The puddle is where you're going to make your biggest splash. That's where you're going to make the big moves and the big gains, not jumping up and down in the ocean. You're not going to make any headway there. So if you have 100 members, focus on that 10 to 20 people that would do something like that. Make it for them, make it very individualized. Know that these more affluent people know what they're looking for, understand them on a higher level. And this gets into a whole
Sure.
other topic of marketing message and understanding, the problems that people want solved, and understanding the types of things that they are looking for, different from maybe, the person that pays you $50 a month. So I think it's a lot of it goes back to an understanding of human behavior and, knowing what people are looking for.
I love it. I love it. Guys, Vince is a legend with this. So if you want more help from him with marketing, he's got a really cool tool. I actually just downloaded it today. To my shame, I had not gotten the book before, but it's the ultimate the ultimate guide to marketing your gym. It is literally on my computer in my inbox right now, by Vince Gabriele, forward by Pat Rigsby. Big time stuff. It is free. So if you go to, what's the website here? ultimategymguide.com, right? Is that right? ultimategymguide.com. I mumble sometimes, so I'll say it slowly and clearly for those of you who don't like my slurred mumble speech. Great attribute for a podcast host over here. ultimategymguide.com. There we go. Get it now. It's good. It's free for you, and there's a lot of good tools in it, a lot of good tips in it. It is solid. Vince, any last words for these people?
No, I mean, I think it's a great time to be in. And again, I think if I understand correctly, that most of your audience are the smaller, gyms and not the big box gyms. Is that correct?
We've got a few people here that are managing vice president big box gyms, and maybe some people sneaking in that under that run, but it's mainly owners of studio space, owners of
Yeah. So I
small
think it's
group
a
personal
great,
training spaces, and personal trainers. Yeah.
yeah, if that's the majority of the audience, then it's a great time because, I think that, in the midst of a recession and a pandemic, people are looking to spend their money with people that they really, really trust.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people don't trust big business. They trust small business. And so you're putting yourself, I mean, I will tell you this, June, we're only open outside right now. June is turning into a very good month. I'm very happy with the way things are moving in my own business. In addition to what I've been seeing with other members of my mastermind that I coach. So I'm very optimistic. So that's why I really do believe, though, the things I talked about before is I wouldn't sit and wait. Right. I wouldn't sit and wait. You got to be proactive and you got to ask people to come in and you got to market. So I definitely think that there's the other thing to know, too, is that since it's been 12 weeks, it's almost like there's a reboot. Right. So someone that was a member at Orange Theory, they've had 12 weeks to think about not being a member at Orange Theory. Right. So it's almost like
Fair game,
it's
man.
like open game. So that's why if you're smart about this, you'd be hitting the marketing hard, right? Because there's so many people out there that are free agents that weren't free agents before.
Go get them. Yeah, right now is the time people are making their mind up. What's my new normal gonna look like? What's my life gonna be like? That's really big. I love it, man. That leads into a whole other conversation about hybrid, online, in person, all kinds of stuff you could get to. But we'll save that for another day.
I think it's necessary.
Yeah, that's huge, guys. Vince is the man. Go grab his book right now. If you've read my book, I Hate Selling for the Fitness Professional, I'd imagine you have, because why else are you here? Grab his book. You've got sales, you've got marketing. You put them together, you got some good stuff going there. That's a pretty powerful combination. Go make it happen. Change somebody's lives, guys. Train smart, live well. We'll see you.